games. Simple things. Pixels, buttons, a bit of fun. Then, somewhere along the way, the big platforms moved in. Last year, $200 billion flowed upwards, away from the people who actually play. This year, they take it back. YOM, where players play games straight from your PC, not a data center in Virginia. Meet Tyler Pemberton. Yes, this looks dramatic, but he's perfectly fine. Tyler's offline. His PC isn't. 47 players streaming from his GPU right now. Even AFK, Tyler's rig is pulling its weight. He's making money in his sleep. Maybe this is what happens when gamers finally take control of their own world. Turn your idle GPU into passive income. YOM.net. Eat, sleep, earn, repeat.
Good evening, everybody. Hey, welcome to another town hall. It has been a crazy, crazy week for YOM, and just in all the right ways, right? And everything that we would say is the way we want things to go. So thank you so much for joining us on the town hall. I'm going to bring up the chat so I can see who's saying what and see what region of the world. I generally ask if you're watching live, let me know what region of the world you're tuning in from. That helps me out. We've got a lot to cover tonight. We're probably going to go long. I'm going to go over some new information about GeForce Now that I found out recently. I thought was pretty interesting. And then there's another massive gaming industry report that came out that talks about where the future, how well the gaming industry is actually doing, where the growth has been. And then it obviously talks a lot about cloud gaming, which is good for us. So we'll talk about that as well. If you're just finding us for the first time because you heard about our TGE, which is happening in 6 days, so welcome to the community. We are a decentralized cloud gaming network. So we're a DPIN, but not like other DPINs. We have a massive market already. There's a lot of people, and I'll get into this later on as I get into the report. The gaming industry is looking at cloud gaming as a solution, and rightly so. It's going to allow a lot more people to play high-end, triple-quality games. Right now, the current cloud gaming systems that are available are actually limited and severely limited, and getting more expensive and getting more limited. And we'll talk about that a little bit today too. What we do is we do a decentralized cloud. So if you have a gaming rig at home that sits idle when you go to bed at night or you go off to work, you can put your gaming rig onto our network, and we'll pay you to allow us to network your computer to the gamers who don't have the high-end gaming rigs. We use your hardware that you're not using. Not your hard drive. We actually ship you a hard drive to operate our system, but everything else, the GPU, the RAM, those kinds of things. So we leverage your system. You get money for allowing us to use your system. So it's win-win to everybody. And then you'll probably take that money and go spend it on more, either a better gaming rig, so that, again, helped our network out, or you'll spend some more money in games, which helps out our industry. Basically, what we're saying is we're bringing the best way to just stream games to players who don't have access to those AAA quality games. We've got the best system for that, and the most scalable and the most growth. Anyways, I'm going to pitch too much if I go on too long. So what I'd like to do though first, and usually the way I start these town halls, if you're first time seeing any of this stuff. So our town hall, we do one on Wednesday night right now, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's 4 on the west coast of the U.S. But we have a large contingent in Europe also. So what we do on Fridays is we do a second town hall that does a little more like Wednesdays. We usually do industry news and we talk about our project a little bit, but mostly industry news. And then on Fridays at noon U.S. Eastern Standard Time, which is about 6 p.m. in Central European Time, we usually have a guest. We'll have somebody from our team. And this Friday, here's the big announcement. This Friday, we're going to have CEO Yort sitting in with me. It's been a long time since he's been able to be part of the program because he's as busy as I've been. He's been even more busy. But there's a lot of great updates to make. And again, as we lead into TGE, it only felt appropriate to bring Yort back onto the show, let him talk to answer questions for people about the TGE, because I know a lot of people have a lot of questions. And really, as much as I want to say that I'm informed, Yort really has the hub of all that information. So Friday, noon Eastern Standard Time, or 6 p.m. if you're in Europe, Central European Time. That's, again, we broadcast on our X account. We broadcast inside of YouTube and on LinkedIn as well. So you can find us anywhere there. All right, let's go into the warm up. The warm up, usually what I do is I bring up some images. So we have a mascot. His name is Walter. Walter is a rust-colored gorilla who wears a blue jeans. Actually, what we say is he's slightly overweight. He wears blue jeans and a white T-shirt that says YOM, and he wears blue round sunglasses, round blue tinted sunglasses. This is close. This is not Walter, but it's a great image. And what we do is we ask the community to go ahead and generate their own images of Walter, put it out there, tag us in there so we can get to see it. This is a great image. This is from Tuana W-Eek. So Wealthy 1242080. Anyways, you see it up on the screen. Follow them, give them a follow. This is a great image of looks more like an orangutan than gorilla. Very easy to get switched with Walter's rust-colored fur. But thanks, appreciate it. And again, announcing the TG. This was sent in through Telegram, and I do like it because we talk often about when are we going to get a tattoo? Well, when YOM reaches a certain dollar, when each YOM token is worth, say, $1, we all figure we'll go get a tattoo. It'll probably be sooner than that. And I like the logo enough that I put it up behind me. So let's see who else. Oh yeah, this is this really ETH or Deed at Deed Memories. A couple of really great images, and I like these because there's a lot of information packed into a single image. Great picture of Walter. There we have a quest system going on right now. We're in season 2. A lot of people in our community are running these quests, and Walter's charging out there with the rest of them. Great image, I appreciate it. Same person created this one as well. A summary of how season 2 is going at day 18, which I think was a couple of days ago. Again, we've got a lot of participation, which of course we're super appreciative of. And then a third one, this one I thought was another great infographic talking about, our token launch is on the 2nd of June, so 6 days away, and all the things that our token does. Our token is a utility token. That's how we pay people who are operating on their, putting their computers on our network. We pay them through the YOM token, and this is the way that, again, incentivize people to be part of our network. Actually, I'll talk about that at the end. And then this one, for me, this was the winner for the week. I really do appreciate this graphic because this phrase down here, compute closer, play better. So one of the things we're going to talk about is NVIDIA and GeForce Now, which still is having issues. And this phrase, compute closer, play better, really does help to sum up what it is that we do at YOM. That's different from the centralized model of cloud gaming, which is really the only other system that's out there. And that's what GeForce Now is. It's what Amazon Luna is. Xbox, Microsoft's Game Pass, same thing. It's all centralized. So they're running off a massive data center. Let me show you. Let me show you real quick what that looks like. So this was sent to me. This is someone in the Reddit thread for GeForce Now. Someone's waiting for their gaming rig, waiting to get on and start playing. There are 200 players ahead of them, and they said, where are you coming from? And the guy says Malaysia. So yes, GeForce Now is having this problem of scale, where in regions of the world like Malaysia, they don't have enough data center volume to handle data center capacity to handle the volume of players. And as I go into the gaming report later on in this broadcast, I'm going to talk about these areas like Malaysia where the growth in people who want to game is just exploding, and the ability to build a data center fast enough and get enough compute from the central servers fast enough out there, it's just not available. And this is one of the things that GeForce Now is running up against. So someone sent me this image, and I thought that was very interesting. So I thought I would check out what else is available to find out about how is GeForce Now performing, because we don't have any animosity towards it. We understand what they're saying. Actually, it was interesting. So I found this article. It was the director, GeForce Now's director. I think his name is Andrew Fear. He gave an interview, a pretty long interview. I went through the thing. The guy comes across as a super nice guy, obviously really intelligent, obviously wants to help out the gaming industry because he understands the importance of a good cloud gaming system. But in his interview, he talks about where GeForce Now started, and their original concept actually is very similar to what we're doing. There's a bit of a difference. They weren't really planning originally to go with data centers. They weren't going out to telecom companies and saying, hey, can we piggyback at your telecom centers and work from there? It didn't work out. So they pivoted and said, okay, we'll just build data centers. We'll just build more data centers. Now, of course, data center construction is already getting a lot of backlash because of the amount of resources just pulling from an area, the amount of water, the amount of electricity that they're pulling. A lot of this has to do more with AI than it has to do with gaming. So these guys are not at fault for any of the backlash. They're building data centers to help gamers, which we're all on board for. But they are competing for GPU power against AI, which of course has made even their data centers more expensive to build. And again, they can't get very local. Going back to that image that I love so much, compute closer, play better. The data centers that GeForce Now is building, that NVIDIA is building, they're still, states away, miles away from where the gaming hubs are. I think there's maybe 5, like Dallas, in the US anyways, Dallas, LA, I forget all, Atlanta might have been one of them. But if you're in the Midwest, if you're up in Iowa, if you're in Indiana, you're too far away to get a really good signal to play on these GeForce Now. And again, at peak hours, what this Reddit thread was saying is, during peak hours, and actually the Reddit thread's saying it, but Andrew Fear openly admitted, yes, we have problems with scale when it comes to a holiday or a very busy, a peak moment when there's a lot of people trying to game. So they know they're up against this issue, and the solution isn't to build more capacity at the data center, because then on a Tuesday when there's not a lot of players, that equipment just sits idle and just burns air conditioning costs and maintenance costs. So what they originally envisioned, if they'd even gone even more granular, the way that we're doing it with individual people's PCs at home, they would have been on the right path. Now we're open to talking to NVIDIA. Obviously, they should come knocking on our door, and we can help them solve some of the problems on the edge, so we can get to the edge for them. But anyways, he comes across as a good guy with good intentions, but those two problems are going to lag them forever. The data centers are too expensive. They don't scale up well, or they're very expensive to scale, and you don't even want to do that because, again, not during peak hours. You don't get the volume, so you've got a machine sitting idle. And then the other point that they made was, so to help them out, they have created a protocol. It's called L4S. It is low latency, low loss. It's a protocol for delivering packets of information. And what they're trying to do is get the internet service, the ISPs, to prioritize these packages, the gaming packages, right? These L4S. But not every ISP is signing on board to do this kind of prioritization. So again, if they can't get everyone to adopt it, this is what they thought they could do, is they could solve the latency problem, the distance latency issue, by having priority on their information packets when they send it around. Well, again, they've got to get everybody on board for doing that. And my contention is always going to be AI is going to outprice the gaming industry. So the ISPs might say yes for now, but then when the AI agents come around and say, no, we need priority on our, on our packets, yeah, there goes gaming, or there goes GeForce Now's priority. So again, to get to the edge, the right way to do it is to go to gaming rigs that are sitting idle at night when people are, either asleep or away at work or those kinds of things. All these GPU cycles that are sitting available, not being used, it's an untapped resource that we've been able to tap. It's a great system the way that we've built it. That solves a problem also for distance, because what we do when a player hits the website or hits the platform that's hosting the game, we go and our orchestrator finds the closest node that's operating that game to that player that's got the best speed. And we've covered the distance of like 250 kilometers at 12 milliseconds latency. So we've had super success, not just because of the way that we've optimized, but also because, not just because of the distance, but also because of the way we've optimized our packets. So, all right. Whew. So that's again, just wanted to reach out to Andrew Fear. If you hear this article, please reach out to us. You can find me on LinkedIn. It's not hard to find. We'd love to talk to you about how we can solve. Now, we're part of NVIDIA's Inception program. The Inception program, for people who aren't familiar with it, it's great, but it's dense. There's a lot of people involved in the program. So to get, you spend a lot of time in their forums and you talk to their teams, and we are making inroads in that way. But a direct line to Andrew Fear would be awesome. So Andrew, maybe we'll reach out to you directly too. Just kind of have a meeting of the minds, and we can come to an understanding. So that was that article. I did, I realized that I hadn't touched on. I talked about TG already. It's happening. We started. We did a launch pad launch, our own, and we oversubscribed, which is phenomenal. Let me bring up. We've got 4 days left in it, but if you're wanting to get involved in the token, and I don't try to show the token too often on these broadcasts, but we should really crow about this. We oversubscribed. We set a boundary of 50,000, and we've gone through it. So we upped the cap just to kind of give people who want to get involved an opportunity to do so. So if you want to get involved, this is not trading advice. We're not financial advisors. Obviously, do your due diligence. Come to understand what our project is. Yes, get involved in our token. Really get involved in operating a rig. That would be even better, because I want to talk about how our expansion into cloud, our expansion into many regions is really the goal for us, and we have some data to back up why that's so important to us. So let me get into this gaming report that I recently came across. So this is from SQ Magazine. They did a whole bunch of statistics. They gathered a whole bunch of statistics again on where the gaming industry is, and some of the gaming industry data that's really important for people like us who are building for the gaming industry to know, so that we target our audience correctly. And then this is also good for gaming developers, all the publishers. They all absorb this information. As a gamer, you might not go out and look for this information. Back when I spent more time gaming than developing, I probably didn't necessarily go out and find these reports. But now these reports are out there, and it's part of my gig here at YOM to find out what the industry is doing, so I can make sure that we steer ourselves correctly. And this report, once again, just validates more of what we're doing. So some of the key takeaways, some of the big numbers. Let me get to some of the big numbers. Worldwide, the gaming base has grown 4.4%. It basically comes down to, they're saying that 61%, almost 2/3 of the population of the planet, is playing games, which is tremendous, right? We're still growing. And part of this growth is finding new ways to reach these new players. But just in total, you have to understand that the gaming industry, we said this over and over again, there's more revenue generated inside the gaming industry than in music, movies, and TVs combined, right? You put those three together. This report talks about that there's more subscribers, there's more gaming participants than there are subscribers to Netflix, Spotify, and Disney Plus combined, right? It's a lot going on. The gaming industry has still got a lot of growth. Now, when you look at the numbers, percent of the world population, again, just in the past 4 years, we've gone from 40% to 61%. That's a massive jump in people playing games. So we're still talking about how inviting and how open the gaming industry is, and how much it's pulling in more and more people. So yeah, gaming industry is strong. So I have in other town halls talked about that. It seems like there's a gaming industry contraction, because I know a lot of people who in studios are downsizing, and they're using AI now to do some of those roles, which is kind of unfortunate. But as much as the gaming roles in studios, some of them are downsizing, the amount of people who are playing games has risen. So I think what you're seeing is more independent studios are popping up. There's more of the studios that are doing well are doing even better than they did before. So some consolidation is happening. That's it's not a bad thing to see the numbers grow, obviously, of people gaming. It's not the best for people who are looking for another role, but again, I think you're going to see that this growth is going to reach out and expand the industry as well. Of course, I jump right down to the cloud gaming section because I want to know what are the numbers, what's the data saying about cloud gaming. And it was announced at GDC that Microsoft's the Game Pass gone up 45% in the past year, which is tremendous. I mean, these Game Pass hours have went up 45%, which is great. It really does show actually the better number I thought was that, and this it says right here, 47% of cloud gamers play exclusively on a cloud. It goes further into the article, talks about this deeper, but it's basically saying that these people who are playing on a cloud, they actually don't have the high-end hardware. They're the only way that they play these high-end games is from a cloud, which is again part of our thesis. This number, this growing number up to 47% is awesome, right? Almost half the gamers who play high-end games who play on a cloud only play on a cloud. It again supports our thesis once again that the cost of hardware is going to go up so much that the gaming industry needs to have the clouds work well so that we can reach those players who can't afford the hardware. It opens up more and more the player base to a more wider audience because now everyone can play these high-end games and not have to own those high-end rigs. The article also talked about mobile still being a very big platform, the biggest platform. I think it was like 82%. So to be able to play these high-end games now on your phone is vital for any developer who's making a game. They've got to have that access point. They have to have that mobile phone access point, which of course the cloud can allow for. Now, not every cloud gaming system will allow you to play on your phone. Obviously, the more decentralized the cloud is, like ours, the better results you're going to get on those phones. Anyways, cloud gaming numbers, adoption is going up and up and up, which feeds right into our thesis. We're timed extremely well. This is the other part of the puzzle that I thought the report kind of helps us out with as well. And this is the gaming by region. So those the North America and Europe, they're still growing, but growing a little slower than say the Middle East and North Africa and Latin America. Both of those regions are massive growth, but they still have the problem. I mean, this growth is happening mostly in mobile games, mostly in the phones, because that high-end hardware is really difficult for the average person in those regions to get. So again, the decentralized cloud network is the solution for both of those regions because not everyone can afford to get one, but the ones who can need to be able to not just purchase that high-end hardware, but also make money from their high-end hardware, which is where YOM comes in. So you can live in, say, Brazil, purchase a high-end gaming rig, use it for yourself, and then make money with it in the evenings or when you're away from your computer to further subsidize that purchase itself. And then you're allowing people in your area to play those high-end games on their mobile devices. So when we talk about distribution of the YOM Nano devices, the key is, there's several different keys. You want to have the hardware for it, obviously. But you also don't want to be in an area that's saturated, or as much as you can be. You want to kind of match the amount of players in your region to the amount of nanos in the region. This is part of the balancing game that we play. So if there's already a large portion of gamers in Europe, and we have a large amount of nanos in Europe, so it works out well. North America has a lot. We probably have room for growth in North America by a lot because we have a limited amount of nanos active, but it's a massive marketplace. So if you're in North America, this is a good way for you to earn some extra income by putting your rig on our network because there's already a demand for it. And then you'll get down to like North Africa and the Middle East and South America where the growth is massive. And the reason I kind of actually the thing I left out and they don't have the numbers for it. Oh no, I'm sorry, they do. Asian Pacific. So the Reddit thread, the guy from Malaysia saying, hey, I'm number 200 in line. Asian Pacific has got a massive amount of growth. It's a great place for people who want to earn some extra income from their hardware to go out and purchase a nano and get involved in the project. One thing I will say, well, actually, let me go ahead and give this talk now because I kind of didn't want to leave it off. So operating on our network is obviously you want to, before you make a purchase, you want to find out if your hardware can handle it, and if your internet speed can handle it. So what we created was a rig check. It's an app that you install on the hardware that you're going to be using on your gaming rig, and runs a very simple test to find out, it gives you an estimate of what your earning potential could be based on the information that you give and based on the information that the app actually finds out. So you'll let it know how many hours a day you plan on running it, how many days a month you plan on running it, And then it'll go off and check your hardware stats on your computer and your internet speed and give you a basic estimate. So if you're curious about becoming a nano operator, and again, I would encourage anybody in the Asian Pacific region, Latin America, and in Middle East and North Africa, take the test. It's very simple to do. You just go to app.yom.net/rig check. And all the information is there. It'll give you a good estimate of what you might be earning. So please give it a look. I'll put the link to the rig check also in the description of the video. And then the conclusion of this report, and again, there's much more to this report. I'll put the link to this report also out there if you're curious. But basically, the just to know that cloud gaming hours, again, it says right there in the conclusion, which is the biggest part, right? The cloud gaming has become a vital piece to the future of the gaming industry. So having it done well and having it be able to scale correctly and having it be low latency, these are all very important pieces that we had focused on 4 years ago. We kind of saw the trends were going this direction, and we said we're going to chart a course that puts us here at this point in the gaming industry cycle, be the cutting edge technology for the cutting edge delivery system for gaming. It was, I said in one of the previous talks, Phil Spector, who had run Microsoft's gaming division a while ago, he put out, I guess it was probably about 8 years ago, that cloud gaming was going to be the way to do it. But the technology, when he said that, was like, he's like, technology doesn't exist today. It's going to have to be new, and it'll be invented in, say, the next 6 to 10 years, I think is what he said. And now we're 6 to 10 years out. The YOM technology is running. And so he was correct with his assessment back then. And we were right to get on board this process and launch our network as we're launching it now. So to summarize, TG in 6 days. So pay attention to our socials to get involved in that. This Friday, Yort, our CEO, will be our guest, and get your questions ready. That we have in our Discord, we have a channel just for questions. So dump them in there. Let's get some questions asked to Yort. So he can, the sooner you get those questions to us, the easier it's going to be for us to kind of answer as many of them as possible. It's going to be a banger of a podcast. I'm very much looking forward. Like, I'll sit and talk with Yort, outside of work hours. He and I will sit and talk for hours anyways about all kinds of stuff. The guy's got a breadth of knowledge. But when we go to the gaming industry and we talk about the cloud gaming stuff, that's where we have the most fun talking. So, all right. So let's take a look at we've got a few more minutes. Actually, so I landed that perfectly. I was like right at 7:30, but you have a little bit of time for questions. So if there are questions to be had, please drop them in there. So if you haven't listened to any of these town halls before, you'll find out that I will answer the questions that I feel comfortable answering, and others I'll say, hey, mods, write that question down. Let's make sure we put an answer into Discord or into Telegram so we can answer the question. So I won't claim to have all the answers at my fingertips. Here's a little clue. If you ever work someplace, this is a life lesson for everybody. If you ever work someplace and your boss is telling you that if you don't have the answer right away, like he blows up on you because you didn't give him the answer right away, you're working for a guy who doesn't really understand how what that boss is doing, right? Is he's forcing you to give information even if it's incomplete. So basically, he wants you to lie. And this is a guy himself who will lie because he doesn't want to look like, oh, I don't have the answers. I don't want to look stupid. So that's not a guy you want to work for. The better boss is the one that says, you know what, I don't have the answer to that, but I can go talk to so-and-so, or I can find out the information. Give me 20 minutes or whatever. That's the better kind of answer to a question that you don't know the answer to. Don't fall into the trap of feeling like you have to have the answers at your fingertips at all times. Nobody does. So it's unrealistic. And I've seen, I was very fortunate. I never was in the situation myself, but I watched a client get berated by his boss because he didn't have the answers right away. Obviously, it was not something. So basically, what I said to the guy later on was like, he wants you to lie to him. Just give him an answer, even if it's wrong, which is shitty. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss, but it's crappy. And I felt bad for the guy, and it was too bad. But I think he moved on and found a better job, anyways. Let me get that off screen. So, all right, what have I not covered? Let's see. I'll listen to the recording. It's very late. I know, class week. Kopalovsky. Yeah, it is late. I know it's late in Europe. I apologize for doing these late broadcasts for you guys. But for us, and when I'm trying to make sure that we get enough of North America able to listen in on a reasonable time frame. Yep, people we love YOM, and we appreciate. Oh, they love me. That's very nice of you to say. I'm starting to worry there will be less YOM node runners because of the high rate cost. So it is an interesting conundrum because with the high cost of hardware these days, it is going to be a challenge, I think, for some. But for others, the benefit is, again, they can earn money from the rigs that they buy. So it's similar to, and there's always going to be a market for this. People who will go off and get a better car so they can be an Uber driver or do Uber Eats. Some people will take that money, they'll reinvest it. I guess is what the whole concept is. We think that because our system will run on a 2060. We don't need the highest end. You don't have to run a 5090. I run a 4070, but I've also run we have several of our nodes are 3060s. So you don't have to have the highest end GPU to run our nanos. So there's a lot of gaming rigs around the world that are just kind of like, well, I feel like my gaming rig is getting old, so I'm going to go get a new one. Well, then your old rig is kind of either sits idle or you try to sell it. But a third option now is available for people is to put that 3060 onto the YOM network and have it just run and consistently earn money. They can go off and use that money to buy their 4070 or the new gaming system. So yes, hardware is going to become the hardware cap is not going to affect just the YOM network, though. It's going to be affecting, and it already is affecting the consoles. You've seen that PlayStation 6 is looking like it could launch at $1,000. So the console market is getting crushed. Nvidia Switch, Nintendo Switch 2, they cranked the price up at the end of the console's life, which is the opposite of what they've always ever done. So because of hardware costs. And I think PlayStation 5 did the same thing too. Like they raised the price as the PlayStation 5 is aging out. They raised the price of the console instead of dropping it, which they have to do. Yes, hardware is getting expensive, but it's the opposite of the way that it's supposed to work. So yes, there are going to be hardware concerns, but again, this is also the reason why a decentralized cloud network is the right call, because as the hardware gets expensive, people aren't going to be able to buy the hardware to play these games. So they're going to look for a better way to play. And you're seeing it already. People are playing on the cloud, and just more and more people are playing on the cloud. So again, I think our technology is timed just at the right time for the industry. I think that's the end of the questions. That could be the end of the town hall tonight. I appreciate everybody stopping by. These have been tremendous. It's funny. I've seen that my YouTube feed gives me a lot of the shorts that we crank out, that little snippets from these town halls. And it's nice I don't like to listen to myself necessarily, but it's nice to see that those shorts are getting out there. If you see one that you like, please go ahead and like it. I think obviously we need a lot of, every time that you like a tweet or like our YouTube videos or get involved in us, quote tweet us on LinkedIn, it all helps out. People get the word about what we're doing. We want the gaming industry to grow. And we want to give them the best opportunity to do so. This is the cheapest, the least expensive way to get quality games out to anybody. This is the most ubiquitous. Like from our network, you can stream to any URL. You can stream inside of Discord, inside of Telegram. These high-end games can reach the audience a lot faster than you would normally do by having a download and install path, which is just so frictionful. So again, we're doing very well, and again, this has been a super busy week. I'm actually more tired than I'm letting on, but it's all a good tired because again, we've got so many positive things coming our way. So Friday town hall with Yort. Next Tuesday at the TGE, we'll have more information. We should have pretty much all the information by Friday, so you put it all in your lap. If you have I was going to say if you have any more questions, but you probably don't. All right, I'm going to go ahead and sign up because I'm getting really, really tired. Thanks again for tuning in. Drink some water. Be good to people. Be good to yourself. Tell someone you love them. Go outside and touch some grass. Research YOM. Research any investment before you make any investment, or research any project you would research before you make any investment. But most importantly, live a good life and be good to the people around you. We will talk again on Friday, and we hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful night. Cheers.